Hello from Safonovo. This is a podcast Pigeon of Peace where we do discuss awesome skills of troubleshooters. Watch, listen, and check the description below for the details. Let's talk about rationality and let's start with the definition.
Rationality is ability to calculate consequences of your action. For example, if you will ride a bike with very high speed, you could bump into the pole. Stolp, yes, pole?
Or portal or any obstacle.
Any obstacle, yes, thank you. If, for example, you would jump into the water from the bank, you would fall on the old tree which is floating above the surface, and you could cut your body. If you will try to be very close to the snake, you could be bitten. So everything you do has a dangerous side. It's about electricity, it's about gas, it's about toxic liquids, and so on. So you should be very careful, and this is a very rational way. For example, if you have a swamp, you should use a very long stick. If you go from the shore to catch the fish, never lose from the side the bank. And if you are not sure what in front of you, you should use lighter in the dark forest. So never do something before you test it by your eyes or by your hand or by some special tool.
And what I was thinking about, what kind of question I should ask next, I would probably realize that again, like at my theory, rationality might be a result of a couple of skills that you have. It could be like a critical thinking, or maybe like awareness of the certain environment, or physics, or science, or law, or maybe you plan certain scenarios, or maybe the game theory. So what kind of thing should be behind? And I do believe it might not be like not so sophisticated or so complex because we probably make all of the decisions like in the milliseconds. But what kind of checklist, the basic one, we should ask ourselves in order to make certain step depending on the size of the step?
It's very funny. I read some books about how to make decisions, and one of the famous book quite disappointing. It was like 100 way how to do decision, and about calculation, about equation, about trends, about feeling, about insights, about serendipity, and a lot of. But suddenly, way number 100, it was like this. Okay, if you have been using everything and you are not lucky with this, then use such a way. Flip your coin into the air, and at this point you will realize which side you want it to be fallen. And this is a very good sign. The same question I asked Warren Buffett, and I have even his book signed by him. And he told me, okay, if I'm thinking and I feel that I am wrong, I have pain in my back. У меня болит спина.
Pain in my back.
Pain in my back. And I was sitting in front of him. Okay, you're doing your billion deals with feeling of your back. I couldn't believe. I refused to think about this. So I know a lot of different way how to do decisions, but a lot of people just arguing with me. For example, it was 20th of October, and one client of mine, he was asking, okay, I want to run from the country. I want to buy some golden bullion. It's okay to say?
Or parachute, depending on what it means.
Okay, I want to buy some gold. I want to buy some digital assets and also closed, I know how to say, closed papers. And I told him, it's not the right time to buy gold because it is very high, and better to buy silver or platinum or even some else. But he was saying, you are mistaken. Gold is always gold. And he bought a gold. I bought it for him for very huge sum of money, and for next three days, gold fallen from the peak for 11%. And it was a call from him, and he was quoting me. Okay, you was telling that it is not a time, but why you was not so persuasive? And I was saying, okay, but what should I say? I am specialist. I look at those graphics each day, gold, platina, and like 100 papers in Russian. I do it on daily basis, and you don't believe me. So someone told you, and you think that those people care about you more than me. I am paid from your pocket. So I want to be nice. I want to be useful, but you don't believe. And he told me, okay, next time you should remind me about this. And I told him, it's like a 10th time you are saying me that I should remind you. But each time when I remind you, your rationality is trying to go out of the chat.
Well, and maybe I will slightly switch the gears. Whether rationality also means like being adult, because actually you do know that only one person who is responsible, like you can see them in the mirror, and there is no like I don't know, like any magician or Santa Claus who just will come and tell you what to do and will just happily guide you through all of the things. Whether rationality and ability to make a decision that you can be responsible for are the same thing, or there is a slight difference.
When I was fighting with one oligarch in order to help other oligarch, he was my shareholder. Suddenly, I saw a picture in cabinet. It was like a fight of two men, but there is also was a cow on this picture, and two lawyers were trying to take some milk from this cow, and it was like a description when people fight, their lawyers get the milk from their cow. And each time when I fight with someone, I'm saying, okay, we could go to court. Okay, it would take us 1.5 years. And okay, maybe it's not so obvious who will win, but it's always cheaper to do the deal on the ground than go to this ocean and depend on some judges and some witnesses and some subpoenas. But a lot of people say, okay, my feelings are touched, so I feel no way how to fix it. I should win everything. But after court, each side will not be completely happy. Never judge would step on the side of one of person. So it's always a compromise, and it is not easy to accept. The same, for example, there is a story which I often tell to people when we talk about relationship. Was like a family, and on odds days, нечетные дни,
Of
четные дни.
course,
On
even
odds, thank you. On odds day, wife would be responsible for all mistakes. On even days, it would be husband. On the seventh day, cat would be blamed for everything.
well, I think this is actually smart kind of a thing to have some sort of like a cached blamer. And when we actually, like sometimes our rationality, I would say like if we look at it as the fortress, it's the defense walls actually could be full. Like whether we're tired, whether like someone who we trust actually like give us something else. So how often we should actually look back at our level of the rationality, or like what kind of we're doing now, or maybe like looking at ourselves and see like whether we are in the state to make a good decision, to make a good step, to actually make a right conclusion.
Let's recall the word of Leibniz. He was a great, or maybe greatest mathematician, and he told, if you are sure about your calculation, you should be checking the most obvious digits you rely on, because error never hides in calculation, it's will hide in assumptions. So I am right now like 52 years old, and each time when I make decision, I am thinking, okay, this is my experience, this is my calculation, this is my intuition, or it's my laziness talking with me.
Well, and then my last question will be how knowing about rationality could help to make this world a better place.
When I work with tutors and lecturers with institutions in Russia, especially Higher School of Economics, we always have a debates. They told me that all people on the market are rational, and when I tried to argue that it is not, they are always became angry. So they are thinking that everyone is trying to maximize their profit. But if you will go, for example, to the cinema, you will see a lot of people who are buying Coke and popcorn for very high price, and it is not be explained by rationality. Or for example, sometime you will be at the beach, ocean beach, and you will buy for Mexican beer Corona like 5 times more than it was like in 50 steps in the bar. So even people who lecture rationality, they are not rational. So it's how who guards the guards. The same would be who will check your rationality, your another level of rationality. The more you analyze your thoughts about rationality, so meta rationality, the more you will become not sure that you're rational.
Well, I think it's well said. And we review the skill of rationality and how it could be helpful for you stay in peace.